All right, everybody, how we feeling? You've had a chance to ruminate about what happened on Wednesday afternoon in that debacle with the Pirates in Pittsburgh. The big question is, what about the team? Are they going to be able to put it past them now? Another time where they've got to dig down deep to try to stay in the wild card race and in the off chance that they may have a shot at the division. Well, it all starts with Friday's game in Kansas City. Hey, everybody, Captain Lou here with another edition of Tigers Daily in partnership with the Fan Arch Network. Again, a quick reminder for those of you that are checking us out for the first time, I say welcome to the Tigers Daily family, and we invite you to hit that subscribe button and be a part of the daily conversation. We talk all things Tigers on and off the field, the games from the night before, the good, the bad, everything in between, and what's next for the Tigers. For those of you that have subscribed, I say thank you very much. The response, again, has been phenomenal. The viewership off the charts. Again, proving that we are one of the most passionate fan bases in all of professional sports, not only Major League Baseball. And again, want to thank our brand new partner coming on with the show, Kalshi, Kalshi. Remember, when you download the app, make sure you use the promo code FanArchBaseball. When you trade your first $10, you get $10 back. Every game now in the stretch run is important, and you can trade all of those on Kalshi. All right, as we mentioned, it's on to Kansas City. The Tigers have landed a 3-game series with the Kansas City Royals. This is dig down deep time. This is where we're really going to see what the team's made of. Now, it can be very easy to say what might have been. Now, as fans, we can do that, right? And I'm not going to say anybody's wrong for looking back and say, you know what, we could have traded. We could be in a better spot with Skubal or with Mize. Scott Harris, I agree with you. I think he could have been a little more aggressive trying to get a bullpen arm. But that's easy to say right now. Hindsight's 20/20. I'm not going to, again, we've had this debate. You can blame them, and you've got a right to, all right? We as fans can look back on it, but the players can't. They've got to find a way to put it in the rearview mirror right now. They're still in a pennant run. They're still in a playoff spot run. It's pathetic. I get it. We're 5 games under 500, but we're still only just a game and a half out of that wild card spot. That's the way they got to look at it. We're going to see what the rookies are made of. We're going to see what guys like Kevin McGonigal, who's probably going to be the Rookie of the Year, Max Clark, this is their first taste in Major League Baseball. So, they're probably running on adrenaline right now. This is where the wall will come. This is where the wall hits for some of these rookies. Dylan Dingler, he's been battling a slump. Let's see if he can break out of it this weekend against Kansas City. And I'm also real interested to see what some of the veterans on the team, how they're going to react. This is where I'm going to kind of rely on a guy like Gleyber Torres. He's been with the winning organization practically his whole career. He was a Yankee for all those years, and he's been with the Tigers when they were good the last couple of years, getting to the playoffs. So that's who I'm going to lean on. Now, we all talked about it in the previous show. My trust level in A.J. Hinch took a major hit. The way he handles the bullpen, and especially on Wednesday. Again, the pitching strategy and all that, we talked ad nauseum about that, and we brought it up in yesterday's show. You can check back and look at it. I still put part of the blame on him for that loss on Wednesday. But with that being said, he's in charge now. This is where he's really got to be a manager and lift these guys up. He's got to find the way. Now, I know the players got to play. I know the hitters got to hit. I know the pitchers got to pitch. I get all of that. But this is where the manager earns his salt. This is a winnable series. Now, we said at the beginning of the road trip, at worst, Detroit had to be 4-2. Well, that means to get to that, they've got to sweep Kansas City. I don't know if they can do that this weekend. I don't know where their mental state is at. I've often wondered, I've played competitive sports, not obviously to this level, but it's very difficult. It's very easy just to say, you know what, we're out of it. Well, they're not out of it. Let's see if they can keep that mindset going into this weekend against Kansas City. Now, again, I'm looking at it's going to be fascinating to see how they react. Now, this is a team on paper Detroit should be able to win, but we all know that you don't win the games on paper. On paper, you win them in the field. So this is a huge weekend series for the Tigers. If they can do something, really, really good, potentially take them all, get some momentum back, go back home. They've got such a monster week coming up with Tampa Bay and the Dodgers that they've got to keep the focus on this weekend first. But after that loss this past Wednesday against Pittsburgh, a game that they should have had, this is where I like to see what the mettle is with this Tiger. What this Tiger team, what's it going to be like up here for the Tigers? All right. Now, again, one of the things that we brought up on our previous show is, of course, the closer, Kenley Jansen. And, it's and the bullpen for that matter. It's a gas can right now. They're not firemen, as the old description used to be. Remember back in the day when they used to give the Fireman of the Year award for the best closers in Major League Baseball? Well, these guys now are not they're fire starters. There's no doubt about it. And you talk about the mental state. What is their mental state? But, we all say get rid of Jansen. Fire Jansen, cut him, DFA him, whatever. Well, in a perfect world, when they just don't have it anymore, as you wonder with Kenley Jansen. He's had a great career. There's no doubt about it. I would love to be able to have someone to step in his place. Does Detroit have an issue? Is there another closer that they could get right now to take his place? Do they have someone on the roster? Now, they can't make a trade. If they were to attempt to make a trade, that person has to clear waivers, and that's not going to happen. So, are we stuck with Kenley Jansen? I think we are. Let's look at the roster and see what they've got. Of the choices, you've got Emmanuel DeJesus, 42 innings pitched this year, 386 earned run average. Jacob Waguespack, his ERA is only 1.85. Is he closer material? We've got Kyle Finnegan, but the way he's pitching right now, I don't know if you can trust him to get out of an inning. Tyler Holton, if they were to go to a closer, maybe you point towards him. 58.2 innings pitched, 40 strikeouts, 3.07 earned run average. But this is a guy that I think the Tigers need to eat up innings, like 2 to 3 innings. That's if A.J. Hinch will let him. We talked about it the other day. A.J. Hinch says he expects these guys to go 2 innings. So I guess my question is, I know we're all frustrated with Kenley Jansen, but do we have another closer? Do we have another guy that we could go to be that ninth inning lights-out closer? I don't think we do. It's obvious we don't. And we don't really have anybody down on the farm right now. So I guess we're stuck with Kenley Jansen. So it all goes back to, I know what his main pitch is the cutter. And that seems like that's what he throws 98% of the time. Every once in a while, he'll throw that slider in or he'll throw a curve in or whatever. Why doesn't he use that a little more often? Again, we can second guess what happened. We did it yesterday on that 0-2 pitch to Flores. Why didn't he throw that slider just to keep him off his feet a little bit? And, you could tell that he's not been able to pinpoint that cutter the way he has in the past. He's had a brilliant career, but you could tell he just doesn't have it right now. But unfortunately for the Tigers, that's what we're stuck with. And so I guess they're going to have to make the best of it. We're just going to have to close our eyes, keep our fingers crossed with him when he comes in the ninth inning. All right, again, a reminder, a welcome to our partner, our brand new partner here on Tigers Daily, and that is Kalshi, Kalshi. Use the promo code FanArchBaseball when you download the Kalshi app. And when you trade your first $10, you'll get $10 back in return. Baseball season is in full swing with the stretch run. All the games are tradable on Kalshi. And again, how it works is if you were to trade $10 on the game with the Tigers, and I believe they're a slight favorite, that means you would get $19.75 back on your $10 trade. So again, on your first $10 trade, you get $10 back regardless. And also, you're not playing against the house. You're trading against your peers, and you can trade in and out at any time. during the game. That's the beauty of Kalshi. Again, use that promo code FanArchBaseball when you download the Kalshi app, and on your first $10 trade, you'll get $10 back. That's Kalshi. All right, the weekend rotation for the Tigers as we head into that Kansas City weekend. Let's take a peek at it. On the game tonight, or tonight's game is going to be Troy Melton against Noah Cameron. Pedestrian numbers for each of these three pitchers this weekend for Kansas City. I guess that's what happens when you're the last place team. They're at 7-8. Noah Cameron 7-8, 416 earned run average, 122 strikeouts. On Saturday, it's going to be Drew Anderson. He's going to go up against Michael Wacha, 6-8, 3.81 earned run average. And then in the series finale, it's going to be Framber Valdez going up against Daniel Lynch the fourth. He's got a little better earned run average at 2.58, but his record is 7-8. So, again, on paper, these are winnable games for the Tigers, but they don't play them on paper. So, again, we go back to what we said at the beginning. Are they going to be able to dig down deep and try to get? They're still in this. They're still in the wild card chase. They're only a game and a half out. We're going to take a look at the standings here momentarily and the thresholds, again, what they've got to do. But this is it. Really, there's no more room for error. I mean, they're 5 games under 500, a game out of the wild card spot. So it starts again tonight. Troy Melton against Noah Cameron, who is 7-8 with a 4.16 earned run average, 122 Ks. Troy Melton coming into the game with a 1.71 earned run average. All right, let's take a look at the standings in Major League Baseball here as we start the weekend. The Tigers again, or the Yankees rather, they trail the Tampa Bay Rays in the East by 4 games now. They're cutting that margin down in the East. Boston is 8 games out. The White Sox now with a 3.5 game lead over the Twins. The Guardians are 4 back, and the Tigers are 5. The Tigers picked up a half game, even though they didn't play yesterday with that loss by the White Sox. And in the West, the Astros, their lead over the Rangers is down to 1 game. In the National League, the Braves have a 5-game lead over the Phillies. In the Central, the Brewers, their lead is now up to 5 over the Cubs. And in the West, the Dodgers, their lead is 9 over the Padres. But right now, the most important stat for the Tigers is the wild card. And the Twins and the Rangers are now the leaders of the day, the leaders of choice. They're tied for that final wild card spot. The Blue Jays are a half game out. The Guardians are a game out. They won yesterday, so they're ahead of Detroit now. The Tigers are a game and a half out. The Orioles are 2 out, and the Mariners are 3 out. So Detroit now would have to jump over 4 teams to get that final wild card spot. So it all starts this weekend with the 3-game set against Kansas City. These are must-win games. They're must-win games from here on out. I know they're not going to lose the season if they lose a game, but they're must-win. They've got to take that mentality. I know they do. They go in every game looking to win, obviously, but these are huge games, especially with that monster homestand coming up with the Rays and with the Dodgers starting next Monday. All right, again, let's take a look real quick at the threshold, as we always like to do here for the Tigers. Now, to get to 85 wins, they've got to go 24-11 the rest of the way. Now, I'm beginning to think 81-81 might get the Tigers in the playoffs. If that's the case, they got to go 20-15, 35 games to go for the Tigers. And if they get to 83-79, that might get them into the wild card. But they have to go 22-13. So, in a sense, Detroit's got to get back to what they were doing in June and July to get to 85 wins. In the last 35 games, they've got to find a way with this shaky bullpen to go 24-11. So I don't know what your confidence level in that is. Mine's not the greatest right now. They're going to have to show me that they can do that. I'm not giving up on the season yet, but they've got to show me that they can do that. All right, let's take a look quickly at some of the comments from yesterday. And, again, I think yesterday was one of the first vent sessions that I really had here on Tigers Daily. And I think everybody really shares in that frustration right now. I mean, Watch the game on Wednesday. How could you not come out of that game frustrated and look back at what might have been? It's so easy, as I mentioned. We're okay to do that as a fan base. We're not the ones that are playing this week. The Tigers got to put that away. So basically, everybody's frustrated. TLC, PRC, totally agree with you. Baltimore meltdown and this loss were two killers. And he said Kenley had 4 blown saves, and that blew him away too. He thought he had more. I agree. How about Mart Harkline, 47-26? Where the hell is John Hiller when we need him? Oh, blast from the past. I remember Johnny pitching for the Tigers back in the 70s, coming back from a heart attack. Remember that? I would like to see Kenny Surwa and his 90-mile-an-hour knuckleball called up to relieve. That's from Arnold Strozhin, 485. That would be pretty cool. And as Ricky Kalinsky says, gas can in all capital letters. And then finally, how about old Jarhead, 386? Just when you think maybe they passed the stink, they remind you otherwise. Well, that's the sentiment right now, pretty much with all the comments here on Tigers Daily. And again, it's now up to the players. We're kind of frustrated right now. We're a little pessimistic. It's up to the players to try to get us to think, well, give us that tease. Get us back to the winning ways. Well, it starts today with the first of 3 against Kansas City. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Tigers Daily in partnership with the Fan Arts Network. I want to thank everybody for taking time out to be with us on your iPhones, on your laptops, however you watched us around the world here on Fan Arts Baseball. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll see you soon with another edition of Tigers Daily. Until then, Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. So long.